I guess they really are retard-proof after all, Hernandez concluded, laughing at the memory of Maya's panic-stricken leap from the roof, his former bravado gone. Carter couldn't help laughing as well, and after a few moments of stubborn silence, even Myers joined in. But one man who wasn't laughing was the fourth occupant of the crew cabin, a real gloomy customer, sitting at the aft bench on the port side, directly behind Carter. The young private couldn't help but look at him again. He was easily in his 50s, he guessed, with a tanned, deeply lined face hidden by a greying beard that made him look a lot older. Clearly he'd been in country a while. His eyes were staring out at the dust bowl through the grimy window beside him, dark and pensive. There was a tension, a nervousness about the guy that put Carter on edge. The fact that he hadn't spoken a word to any of the men on board the chopper since they'd lifted off from Firebase Hammer 30 minutes ago only added to his disquiet. He had been bundled aboard at the last minute, a hitcher, a foreign, and not altogether welcome presence. He wasn't military. That much was obvious. There was no name tag on his body armor, no unit badge or rank insignia on his clothing. Nothing to identify him at all, in fact. None of them had said it out loud, but they were all thinking the same thing. The guy was a spook. Either CIA or NSA or some other clandestine group that was way above their pay grade. Part of another world that neither Carter nor the others had any desire to join. But what was he doing on their chopper? Unknown to Carter, a pair of binoculars was trained on the lumbering chopper as it beat a path through the dusty sky, exhaust fumes shimmering from the engine outlets. The thud of the main rotors from 2 miles away was just faintly audible in the warm air, but getting louder as the chopper approached. The hands clutching the binoculars were big, square and strong. The digits, all 8 of them, thick and powerful, hardened and calloused by years of manual labor. The last 2 fingers on the left hand were missing, terminating in lopsided stumps just before the first knuckle. The field glasses were lowered, revealing a lean, gaunt face, prematurely lined and marked by a lifetime of conflict and hardship. A man, middle-aged, halfway through a life that had been neither short nor easy. Dark eyes surrounded by deep crow's feet surveyed the rapidly approaching target, the keen mind behind them imagining the sequence of events that was about to play out. The men inside the chopper were confident and complacent, oblivious to what was coming. They thought themselves safe, protected by altitude and armor and technology. They thought wrong. Myers was about to launch into another story when suddenly high-pitched threat warnings started blaring from the cockpit, the aircraft's onboard computers screaming a warning that they were being targeted by something. Instantly, Carter felt himself tense up, his heart rate soaring as his body prepared itself for a danger it didn't understand. He was a gazelle on the African plains that had just spotted a lion stalking him in the long grass. Death coming for him. In his mind, he begged for it to be a false alarm, an instrument malfunction, a blip from a nearby radar array, even some asshole on the ground with a radar gun who was curious to know how fast military choppers really traveled. "We're being lit up," the pilot warned. A moment later, the bleeping alarms changed to a constant high-pitched tone. "Shit! We're locked up! We're locked up!" "Anybody see anything?" the co-pilot called out. Leaning out further, Carter looked down towards a range of low hills off to the east, saw an innocuous little puff of white smoke, and felt his blood run cold. The missile was about 1.5 miles from its target when the operator depressed the trigger, just shy of 2,500 meters. It left its launch tube an instant later, propelled by a small disposable ejector unit that fell harmlessly away after serving its purpose. The main rocket motors kicked in a second later, and with a tearing roar the missile accelerated up to Mach 2.2, more than twice the speed of sound. "Missile inbound!" he yelled, more through instinct than intent. The pilot's reaction was immediate. "Hang on!" Jinking the stick left and jamming the throttles wide open, he put them in a hard turn to port under full power, raising the collective to claw for more altitude. He was no nervous rookie on his first flight, but a seasoned veteran of the Afghan theater who had been shot at by rocket-propelled grenades and small arms fire more times than he could count. He knew all the tricks.